Alrighty, here we go. Alrighty guys, this is it. It's time to talk about a community or a fan base that has gone way too far recently on social media like Twitter or YouTube and all that stuff. Sorry about that. Anyways, and it is a community that it is based on one of Nickelodeon's most popular and well-known series that ran for 27 years. And the show is turning 27 years old in May 1st, which I'm very excited for its 27th anniversary in May. It's going to be great. And it's a community or a fan base that at once it wasn't too far, but later on throughout the years, it has gone even worse and gone downhill and gone way too far due to the shit that's happening, the crap that's happening to random stuff that people are talking in this community that's gone way too far. And today I'm gonna do a video that I always want to do ever since a while ago, and that is not other than let's talk about why the SpongeBob Squarepants community or the SpongeBob Squarepants fanbase is gone way too far or gone downhill, as you guys before to call the video. If you don't remember the title that I'm gonna put on the title of the video. So yeah, I always wanted to do this video ever since I saw a lot of crap I saw on social media about when they talk about SpongeBob Squarepants in the community, and ever since then, I said myself, you know what? I think it's time to make a video about the SpongeBob community and why it's gone downhill and gone way too far throughout the years. So yeah. But anyways, on with the intro. Hey everyone, it's Alejandro's Entertainment House here back again. And today, I'm going to talk about why the SpongeBob Squarepants community is gone way too far or gone downhill. I always want to make this video ever since there's so many social media people talking trash about the modern seasons, bringing down Hillenburg's legacy, using Hillenburg as a poor excuse and treating the modern seasons like they're some sort of big deal and yada yada yada, that bullshit, which I decided to make this video. Yeah, I decided to make this video. Before I start this video, before I start this video, I want to tell you guys about the show SpongeBob Squarepants before I talk about the community that I'm going to talk about. So, let's talk about SpongeBob Squarepants, the show. Back in 1996, when the creator of the show, Steven Hillenburg, left Rocco's Modern Life after the show's cancellation, and he left, and for family purposes only. Ever since Steven Hillenburg left Universal after the 7th season of Pikmin, and he was no longer the showrunner of the show after season 7, Steven Hillenburg had a great idea to make a new show for Nickelodeon, which is SpongeBob Ahoy, which was originally going to be the original title for SpongeBob SquarePants during its original prototype. But, however, 1 year later, they actually changed the name to SpongeBob SquarePants to avoid confusion with SpongeBob from a random clean thing. So, and then May 1st, 1999 came along. SpongeBob SquarePants premiered on Nickelodeon. It was a massive success. It received universal acclaim, and it was considered one of Nickelodeon's best works they made. And throughout the series, and throughout the years, SpongeBob became a worldwide phenomenon with merchandising, movies, which we'll talk about the movies later on. Which, yeah. And video games, and so many to name it. Even theme park rides, SpongeBob SquarePants was everywhere. It was one of Nickelodeon's most popular shows next to Dora the Explorer, Rugrats, Avatar: The Last Airbender, Palantina, even though it's fan-made, and all that stuff. And The Loud House, even though I don't talk about that show nowadays, and as well as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Garfield. They're the most popular IPs for Nickelodeon. But unfortunately, ever since during this decade, I think this community was falling from grace due to some unnecessary things they said and some stuff that they're not that true, I think, or some petty stuff. And let's talk about that. Anyways, let's talk about why the SpongeBob community is gone way too far. Don't get me wrong, guys. Don't get me wrong. I love SpongeBob SquarePants. I really do love SpongeBob SquarePants. SpongeBob SquarePants is one of my all-time favorite shows on Nickelodeon. And do I want to be part of this community or the fan base? No. Sorry guys, in the background it was my mom's pet dog's toys. Oh, ignore that in the background. Back on saying. Anyways, let's continue. Anyways, it is one of my all-time favorite shows on Nickelodeon. SpongeBob SquarePants. It's one of my all-time favorite shows on Nickelodeon. And do I want to become part of the SpongeBob community or fan base? No. Absolutely not. There's no way in hell I'm going to be part of this community or fan base. Because there's so many problems I'm going to speak of this community. And by the way, even though I'm a SpongeBob fan, I'm a huge fan of SpongeBob myself. But, however, I'm never going to be in this community whatsoever. Now let's talk about why the SpongeBob community has gone way too far. Let's get started. I have a lot to say about why the SpongeBob community has gone way too far. Anyways, one of the reasons why it's gone way too far, because just like other fan bases of franchises like most members from the cartoon community, for example, which the cartoon community is no better, by the way. The cartoon community is no better. As they always whine and complain about the modern incarnations of the franchise. Like, dude, I understand you're not a big fan of the modern incarnations of SpongeBob SquarePants because you're not a cup of tea, but that doesn't mean you have to complain over the modern incarnations of the SpongeBob franchise like the spin-offs, which we'll get to the spin-offs later on, and the modern seasons, which, dude, why are people treating the modern SpongeBob seasons on this community like garbage? Just because of the wacky faces and all of that stuff. They claim they complain about the wacky faces in modern SpongeBob, but yeah, they are okay with that in Looney Tunes or Ren and Stimpy or all that stuff, which that is very hypocritical, I gotta say. That is very hypocritical. People, users are hypocrites at most times. So yeah, and also, most of the SpongeBob episodes in the modern seasons are really good, I gotta say. I really enjoy most of the modern episodes. And the seasons like Season 9B, 10, 11, 12, 15, and Season 16 are really good seasons. And Season 13 and 14, I do like these seasons, but they're the weakest SpongeBob seasons. I gotta say, they're the weakest. Sorry guys, the weakest SpongeBob seasons. But I gotta say, they're way better than Season 6 and 7 of SpongeBob SquarePants. Because those seasons are pretty bad, but Seasons 8 and 9A were mid. So yeah, like, they're just modern seasons and they're just kinds of animation and all that stuff during the modern season. Like, no need to complain and take them way too seriously over those modern seasons. And this is why Sponge Boomers are getting way too far. And an example of SpongeBob's fanbase being gone way too far is people saying this unnecessary filler term, which that is getting really gone way out of control, and that is Steven Hillenburg will hated this. Steven Hillenburg is really for his graveyard. Nickelodeon is ruining Hillenburg's reputation. Or things like they're ruining Hillenburg's legacy. Which I'm gonna show you one video, one proof.
I wanna go see this. He was only 57. Really a tragic day in the animation space and in just the world. And in a just world, this would be the end of SpongeBob. I mean, what? A 20-year run isn't enough? Apparently not for Nickelodeon. Since his death, we've gotten several more seasons, a Camp Coral spinoff, another spinoff, The Patrick Star Show, and 3 more movies, all relatively against Hillenburg's will. This is like a...
They really need to stop using Hillenburg as an excuse to trash the modern seasons and even the new SpongeBob stuff. Besides, here's the real truth. Hillenburg was aware that Nickelodeon renewed SpongeBob for a 4th season before the movie came out, which I'm gonna show you proof right now. And here's a fact. SpongeBob SquarePants wasn't originally going to be the series finale of SpongeBob SquarePants. If you want to see the proof why, here it is. You see, guys? This is why the SpongeBob community or the SpongeBob fanbase is gone way too out of hand. And let's explain more why the SpongeBob fanbase has gone way too far. The Steven Hillenburg is running for his grave term, or Nickelodeon's ruin is destroying Hillenburg's legacy. Those comments have been really annoying me recently, as these people's only proof is a decade-old interview where Steven said, "I don't see any SpongeBob spin-offs in the future," which he never said that he never wanted any SpongeBob spin-offs all this time. Yep, that's the truth. Steven Hillenburg was aware that there's gonna be SpongeBob spin-offs in the future, and he never said that he does not want SpongeBob spin-offs in the future. Just that he didn't see any in the future. And also, in that same interview, he said he doesn't see a second SpongeBob movie happening. And yet, he came back to direct Sponge Out of Water back in late 2014, I think. This is way before Hillenburg returned to work on SpongeBob SquarePants in the second half of season 9, starting in episode 12, Lost in Bikini Bottom and Tartar Sauce, which are the first episodes that have Steven Hillenburg involved in the crew of SpongeBob SquarePants alongside some of the writers for the classic seasons after a while. And the reason why Steven Hillenburg and some of the old crew left SpongeBob SquarePants for a while is because they're getting tired and they want to replace it with some writers to see how it will turn out. But suddenly, the middle seasons after season 5 didn't do well. Because season 6 and 7 are pretty bad, and season 8 and 9A were mid. So yeah. Even though I like all the SpongeBob seasons, season 6 and 7 were my least favorites. Don't get me wrong, I like season 13 and 14, but they're the weakest seasons. But they're not as bad as season 6 and 7, by the way. Yes, I will watch the new SpongeBob episodes very soon on Nickelodeon when it comes out very second. So yeah, I'm very excited. But anyways, which shows Steven Hillenburg changed his mind about Sponge Out of Water, which that's pretty cool that Steven Hillenburg went to work on Sponge Out of Water. He changed his mind all this time. And a tweet from a man who hasn't worked in SpongeBob in years saying Steven wouldn't disapprove of this, which is an absolute lie all this time. Because Steven knew about Camp Coral before he passed away, which, even though I'm not a big fan of Camp Coral, I think Camp Coral is not my cup of tea. But hey, it's not the worst show I ever see for Nickelodeon. That would go to Breadwinners. That is even worse than Camp Coral. And yes, I do find Camp Coral to be the weakest out of the SpongeBob franchise, next to Sea Bikini Bottom, which is the worst one, by the way, and season 6 and 7 of SpongeBob SquarePants. So yeah, at least the Patrick Star show, at least the show tried. At least that show tried. But SpongeBob SquarePants, the main series, will always be the best one that came to the franchise since the first 2 SpongeBob movies. And hell, even the 4th film was good. So yeah. So Camp Coral, at least it's not the worst spin-off I've ever seen in my life, but it's still not my cup of tea because I've seen worse shows than Camp Coral. So yeah, sorry guys, I was putting my hat. Anyways, let me continue talking. Steven Hillenburg was aware of Camp Coral before his death all this time. He was aware all this time. So yeah. And now, everyone holds Steven's passing over every single piece of SpongeBob media. Which, rest in peace, Steven Hillenburg. You're an absolute legend. You were missed. You're a great legend. And the good thing is, Nickelodeon mentions created by Steven Hillenburg in SpongeBob merchandising just to dedicate Hillenburg after his death. which is a nice tribute to the creator, created by Misusing Hillenburg just to dedicate him because he created the show. And that's why the SpongeBob community is gone way too far. I mean, way too far. And another thing I want to say, I remember on the SpongeBob SquarePants page on Wikipedia, the editors, which I think they're the SpongeBob community members, which I think so because they're gone way too far. They claim that the show SpongeBob SquarePants is still going downhill even in the recent ones just because Hillenburg wasn't involved in it. Which I'm gonna show you proof right now. Look, I know SpongeBob did receive universal acclaim when it first came out, but later on, it went downhill throughout a couple years. Even though season 4 did well with some episodes and got a cult following, and season 5 did have some decent episodes and some of them are good, and season 6 and 7 didn't do well, and season 8 and 9A as well. But, however, in season 9B through onwards, the show became good again, which I know that, although some people understand they're not into these seasons, but I know there's a lot of people who enjoy these episodes because Hillenburg came back in season 9B until his death, and he was aware that Nickelodeon is going to continue SpongeBob. Even the writers came back as well from the first 3 seasons. They're still working on the show to this day. And the recent season 15 and 16, some episodes are doing well. But that doesn't mean the show is still going downhill because of that. Just to bring up Hillenburg for no reason, even if he was aware of SpongeBob continuing after the movie. And by the way, Hillenburg knows that SpongeBob will continue after the movie, which I always know that. Sometimes Wikipedia has some information that make no sense, or some are right and some make no sense. This is why sometimes wikis or Wikipedia can have false information. And hell, they're even trashing on the SpongeBob movie, Source of Squarepants, just because it's modern SpongeBob, and giving out poor excuses like Misusing Hillenburg is ready for his grade because of this movie, blah 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 blah. Like, that is pretty much not that good, because Hillenburg was totally aware that Nickelodeon is going to continue SpongeBob all this time. He was aware of this all this time. Like, you know what I mean? And even they trash on modern SpongeBob stuff just because you're using Hillenburg as a stupid excuse to break up Hillenburg's legacy, and they trash on the modern seasons for no reason in this community, just because they're saying it's an insult to Hillenburg. Like, that is pathetic. Hillenburg was aware that there's going to be new seasons of SpongeBob all this time. He was aware that Paramount and Nickelodeon is going to make new SpongeBob episodes because due to how popular SpongeBob is. So yeah, and that's how the SpongeBob community is gone way too far. Anyways, coming to me who is a big fan of SpongeBob SquarePants and loves watching the show, And hell, guys, I even go to the Nickelodeon Land area at the theme park in Madrid to meet the SpongeBob characters in person and go to the rides based on the show, which are Hero Spin and Patrick's Jellyfishing, which they're awesome rides, by the way. They're really cool. This community is absolutely obnoxious. They should stop taking the Mars seasons way too seriously, and they should stop using Hillenburg as a poor excuse. They should just don't like it, and that's all. They should just don't like the Mars seasons instead of trashing on it and using Hillenburg as a stupid excuse. They should just don't like it instead. This is why the SpongeBob community is gone way worse than when I think about it. So yeah, thanks for watching this video, and yeah, coming to me who loves SpongeBob, the community is terrible, and there is no way in hell I'm gonna be part of this community whatsoever gonna be in this community. Not at all. I'm not gonna be in this community, and not gonna be part of fan base. So yeah, even though I love the show, the fan base has gone way too far. I'm a fan of SpongeBob, obviously. I'm an actual better and well-matured SpongeBob fan, and talks about SpongeBob way better than the SpongeBob fan base. That's gone way too far. And no, I don't overpraise SpongeBob SquarePants, because there are other shows I always do talk, like Looney Tunes, Phineas and Ferb, Bluey, so many to name. And even Fairly Odd Parents, only the first 8 seasons. By the way, I gotta say this. Season 6, 7, 8, and 9 of SpongeBob SquarePants are way better than Fairly Odd Parents Season 9 and 10. So yeah. That's my video of why the SpongeBob fan base or the SpongeBob community has gone way too far. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video I'm gonna do later on, which I'm gonna reveal what is gonna be my next video.